Thanks, Steve, and thanks, Bill. Bill had a birthday this week. Isn't that right, Bill? No. Wasn't it? I think he's 29 and holding a lot. Huh? 39 and holding. That's good. So that voice is always comforting, and he speaks from the heart. So it's a good deal. I look around, I see a lot of different visitors today. So don't let me scare you off. Our normal preacher, I think he's normal. He had a birthday this week too, and I think he's gone or visiting somewhere. So don't know about Shane, but he should be back next week. But guess what? We have a guest speaker next week too. So David French from Zambia, one of our missionaries, will be here, and they've been doing a great work. It's a family that has dedicated their life to serving God. So not only that, but we have a potluck. Now, you know what that means? Fried chicken. So if you're here next week, you can eat with us and have fellowship with us and let us get to know you. So don't let me scare you off. I've just been filling in here for about, 20-something years, Scott? So we've seen a lot of things happening. So, and if you're visiting, you think we just sit here and sing, forget about it. You know, we've got people that are doing stuff. I'm going to ask one question. If you're involved in our homeless ministry, would you stand up? That means you. And that means him and a lot of other people. So every week they go down into the city and they take care of 25 or 30 homeless people with backpacks and food and all kinds of things. So you can sit down. So if you're involved in our teen ministry, stand up. Our young people, if you're involved working with teens, stand up. That's you back there too. Parents, you can stand up. You know, we've got people that are very much involved with young people. So it's just amazing stuff that's going on, carrying the gospel. And if you go to Park Place and you have a worship service on Sunday morning, before you get here, would you stand up? So, you know, this is stuff that goes on. You know, and on we could go. But you can sit down now. I want you to have a good, relaxing sermon this morning. As I ever figure out, we got a new clicker. That's a problem. And we'll get to it. So, that's not working, is it? Okay. We're on. Oh, we did that already. I'm going back. Oh, you know, he couldn't figure it out. He gets paid to do it. So, you know, it's okay. Mustard seed faith. Where in the world do sermons come from? Let me tell you a story, okay? It was last summer, and all of our granddaughters were at our house, all three of them, and they all have different interests. So the two of them are working with Nana, otherwise known as Mary Dale, and they've got crafts and sewing and all this kind of stuff, getting ready for college and doing all kinds of things together. We go shopping, this and that, and that's kind of good. You know, they do stuff. They like to do that. I'm no good at those kind of things. But fortunately, our oldest granddaughter is like me. And she wants to rummage around in the basement to see what she can claim when we're gone. I didn't know that was a thing when you're 76 to be ready for that. But she loves fossils, she loves plants, she loves birds, she loves weather, she loves all those kind of things. She loves dogs and just everything. So we spend time saying, oh yes, we learned how to sharpen a pocket knife. Have you ever taken your granddaughter or daughter and showed her how to sharpen a pocket knife? You know, pocket knives, they don't carry. You do if you work at a farm, and she does, so that's important. So we're rummaging around in the basement, and there's a big metal box that was my great-grandmother's sewing box, and it's decorated. It draws your eyes to it, and it's got a lot of stuff in it. So, of course, we have to go to our treasure box. And we open it up, and there's my mother's Bible that has all the records of our family, births and deaths and all that kind of stuff. And it's worn out. I mean, it's a red leather King James Version, thumb indexed, and it's been through it. It's sat by my mother's bed for years and years and years. And she was a Bible school teacher and all kinds of things. Then as my granddaughter rummages around, she finds this Bible. Oh, let's see. Oh, that one. So that's this little Bible. It was a gift to me from my mother on Christmas 1957. That's 68 years ago. I'm still not as old as Bill Moody. But that's still a long time ago, isn't it? So Bailey looks at it, and she unzips it and looks inside, says, "Wow, that paper doesn't look new. It looks new. It looks like you've never used it." Oh, that's not very good when you've been a preacher and all that, but the print is so small I can't read it. There's a story to this as well that goes a little bit deeper. Said, "Papa, how come you didn't use that?" Well, I got others. I got bigger print. I can read those. My mother gave me that, and I loved it, but there was a problem. It was a mustard seed Bible. On the very bottom of it, there is a little zipper pull that had a marble with a small mustard seed in it. So everybody at church got one of those if you were in the youth group. And at 8 years old, I was really looking for a BB gun, and I get a Bible. So I wasn't really excited about it, but I liked the little marble with the seed in it. Well, being a boy, I want to see, how did they attach that? So I lost my marble. And I still have lost my marbles. So the marble's gone, and I look a little closer, and you can see my name is spelled B-U-R-N-E-R. Mama, you've been holding out on me, and Burney is not my name. I really should be called Burner. I don't know. Joe's brother-in-law used to call me Burner Baggett. Let him burn when I preached, I wasn't that bad, I don't think. But so when I look at that Bible, I know a couple of things. Number one, I've got an identity crisis. Who am I? I've got another crisis maybe. Maybe it's a faith crisis. If your faith is small, maybe something's really wrong with you, or you're searching. And maybe as you grow older, and this is a problem with seniors as they retire and move away from the job, move away from a lot of different things, the question is, who am I really? When all the stuff is gone. Oh, in that basement, there's a box full of awards and certificates and things I've done, all those kind of things that were important at one moment in time that nobody cares about now. All those things you struggle for, nobody cares about. They'll just go into the dump, probably. Who am I? And what about my faith? We read from Matthew 17. Good job, Steve, too. And there's a story there. It's a story of a father. It's a story of Jesus. It's a story of hurt. It's a story of pain. It's a story of hope. It's a story of faith. But I want you to do this, not now. We're not going to read all the Bible today. I want you to read Matthew 17 in several different versions because it changes from the King James or the ASV or the New King James Version or the NIV. And we do ourselves an injustice when we don't search the Scriptures a little bit to kind of find out what other people are saying. And I want you to read Mark chapter 9 to get Mark's version of the story. And I want you to read Luke's version in Luke chapter 9. That way you can bring it all together and begin to see this story. Well, let me tell you the story of Matthew 17. It begins with the transfiguration of Jesus on the mountain, with Moses and Elijah and Peter, James, and John, and God speaking from the cloud and Jesus glowing. It is a moment of triumph, of power and glory, something no one has ever seen before. And Peter wants to build huts there so they can stay on the mountain with Jesus and with Moses and Elijah and just have a good conversation. But he tells that to Jesus and turns around, and Moses and Elijah are gone. And Jesus, still glowing, but they leave. See, it's just Peter, James, and John. The other 9 are down the mountain. You've got to go from the mountaintop to the valley. So Jesus, Peter, James, and John go down to the valley, leaving that great moment behind. And what they find there is a crowd that is surrounding the other 9 disciples, and they're upset. There's a young boy, don't know how old he is really, but if you read the account in the King James Version, there's a word that is used as they describe the problem of this boy. He has a chronic health problem that is tied to epilepsy. But the King James Version says he is a lunatic. And in that time, they felt like the moon phases were impacting his behavior as an epileptic. Now, epilepsy is a chronic brain condition, central nervous system condition, and it's horrible. It is horrible. But this, as you read the different versions, you find out the young man is not only epileptic, but he's deaf. And he doesn't speak, he's mute. He has a spirit of muteness, one version says. I identify. I have a chronic disease or 2. Diabetes is a chronic disease. Hearing loss, I'm basically deaf mostly without my hearing aids. I have other diseases too, chronic kidney disease. And you take that with you all your life. There's no cure for most of those things. This father who is there has begged the disciples to heal him. They had been given power by Jesus to do healing, but they couldn't do it. They couldn't heal him. They couldn't make the epilepsy go away or the demon go away. And the crowd was upset. They wanted to see a miracle. The young boy was rolling on the ground. He was foaming at the mouth. If you've ever been around an epileptic at a grand mal seizure, that's what it's like. It's not pretty. The father is distressed. It's his only son. So he turns to the only Son of God, Jesus. Can you heal him? And Jesus says, if you believe, yes. And the Father says, I believe. Help my unbelief. When you think about yourself right now this morning, you believe. Probably wouldn't be here if you didn't. But what about those areas of unbelief where you struggle saying, is this real? Is this story something that is just a story? Or is it the reality of my life? Well, there's more to the story. Unfortunately, there is the glory that goes with it. Jesus rebukes the demon. The demon screams and comes out. He's mad now. He's leaving the boy there as if he were dead on the ground. And the crowd says, he's dead. And Jesus is upset too with them, says, how long must I endure this generation, this faithless and unbelieving generation? You see, there's a lot of that going around. But Jesus takes him by the hand, lifts him up. He's alive. And he tells that demon, don't ever come back. You see, we question what God can do. He can do anything he wants to. He can do everything he wants to. And he's healed this boy, the touch of the hand. The only son has healed the only son of this father. So much goes on here, but the problem is with the disciples. They couldn't heal, and they asked that question, why couldn't we do that? Is there something wrong with us? And turning to a version in the New American Standard, disciples came to him and said, why could we not cast him out? So Jesus said to them, because of your unbelief, for assuredly I say to you, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move, and nothing will be impossible for you. However, this kind does not go out except by prayer and fasting. They were struggling. The disciples. They walked with God. They talked with him. They ate with him. They communed with him. And they were still struggling. I bet you are too sometimes. You get one of those bad phone calls or your life comes apart and life tumbles in. It's hard. They were having a hard time. Now, they will go on to heal and cast out and take care of demons in their own time, in their own way. But Jesus says, your faith is too small. Too small. I don't want a small faith. Do you? Well, let's see if we can't move on and find a way to get a bigger faith. Is it possible? Faith is not stagnant. We've got to grow a faith. You got to do it. It's not going to happen by accident. It won't necessarily do it sitting in a pew somewhere. You got to put it in the Word. I'm going to speak to you as a farmer. You got to be planted in the Word of God. We grew mustard on our little farm in Tennessee. We grew turnip greens. We grew all kinds of row crops. Sold them to a little market in town. Canned them, put them up, froze them. But this is not the kind of mustard we're talking about. The kind of mustard in that part of the world was much larger, more potent, used as medicine, used as food, used as a lot of things. But that seed had to be planted. We have to be planted in the Word of God. There are things we need to do. 1 Peter 3:15, always be prepared to give an answer of the hope that is within you with gentleness. Why do you have hope? You live a long time, you begin to ask that question. Why do I have hope? What makes me different? 2 Peter 1, add to your faith. Sometimes we say there's nothing we need to do. I don't buy that. I've experienced in my life, how do I keep on growing? How do I keep on knowing God more? You've got to read, you've got to study, but do you do it all the time? No. You add to your knowledge, love, and all the kind of things we need to go out and help people. But as a farmer too, get the weeds out of your life. And we're surrounded by weeds. They start small, they grow, they move into our life, they choke out the good things sometimes. You see more and more of it in our society today, people that are struggling with our emotions, struggling with life, struggling with debt, struggling with addiction, struggling with relationships, struggling with who I am. And we live in a hard time right now, and sometimes it's just hard. Let us grow And don't get discouraged. I've been down. We all have those moments when we're down. And life can come crushing in on us. But in those moments, you turn it over, and there's God looking down, showing his love through the Word, through his Son, and he helps. I've been touched by the love of people, of my wife, my family, my friends, strangers, people that would pick me up. As a teenager, it was a coach that would encourage me. In college, it was a professor that would look after us and help us see hope. It was an employer that says you're doing a great job. It's a neighbor that says we can always count on you. It's somebody that's going to help you through that struggle. You're going to make it if you trust God. And lastly, faith is a journey, not a destination. We'll never totally arrive at a total faith. We're going to be growing it one day at a time, one moment at a time. Years ago when we were at Maryland Heights, Linda, you may remember this. One of the members called all the elders up on the podium, and he had a gift for us. It was a pen. It was a WWJD, What Would Jesus Do pen. The movement at that time was reminding people, ask yourself, what would Jesus do? Now, that was kind of a gimmick, but it worked. If you ask yourself, how would Jesus approach this situation? Then I thought maybe it should be WCJD. What could Jesus do? He can do anything. He can do everything. He can do all things. Or maybe it was WDJD. What did Jesus do? And Peter says, he has left us an example that we should walk in his steps. Does that work? So there's a lot of gimmicks out there. It's not easy to find one that works for you. But for me, it's in prayer, it's in relationships, it's in the people around you that you see that will be there to lift you up. When you're laying in that hospital bed, or you're struggling with loss, or you're struggling with jobs, or you're struggling with people, that's going to come and put a hand on your shoulder and have a prayer for your heart. Be the hands and feet of Jesus. The disciples went on to do that, but there was a cross coming. There was a price to be paid. They would struggle. They would see the crucifixion. They would witness the ascension. There's more to it. We're there too. So this morning, as you stop and contemplate this, and hopefully I haven't run you off, I'm going to ask you a question. Is your faith too little? Need a little help? Need a little encouragement? You need a little prayer? You need to build a relationship with Jesus? Need a little study? See all these people? Don't leave here empty. Don't leave here scared. Don't go home alone with the burden on your heart. We're going to have an invitation song, and while we do that, if you would come down front, the elders or I or somebody will be glad to take your hand and listen to your heart. And if not today, any day, any time. So won't you come as together we stand and sing.